Hello everyone, drberkkkaratas. I'm going to talk about how to use fantasy and visualization before or during masturbation, what we recommend, and why it should be used. Now we need to divide masturbation into two parts, one before and one during. One of the most important points is that during masturbation you shouldn't be watching any visuals. So we always had a slogan, and I always say it: masturbate while watching a porn movie. We don't do that. We don't watch porn movies while masturbating. We wrote this down in a corner. What we recommend the most before masturbation is to create a fantasy and to continue that fantasy during masturbation. We can create a fantasy for about 5 to 10 minutes before masturbation. The fantasies we create should be ones that we can actually do in real life and that excite us. When creating a fantasy, it's not right to only focus on the fantasy and derive pleasure from it. We need to be aware of ourselves. So, am I breathing? Are my muscles relaxed? Therefore, this is especially important for men, because men need to stay calm, whether it's before a relationship, during foreplay, during intercourse, or even while masturbating. Their physical arousal should be low. It's a bit different for women. At this stage, meaning during the fantasy creation phase, women can engage their pelvic muscles, neck muscles, and they can do a back and forth rocking motion with their hips. They can have light touches or contact with their clitoris or vaginas. After the fantasy phase is over and we move on to normal masturbation, we continue with the fantasy. We generally prefer to continue with the same fantasy. And while continuing with the fantasy, men need to have control over their breathing and muscles. For women, we recommend those hip rocking movements and the tension in the lower back and neck muscles, along with some moaning or sounds of pleasure. The use of visuals is very important. We don't masturbate while looking at visuals. That's our red line. It can be used beforehand. How does that work? It should be like this. At a time when you won't be masturbating, you set aside about 5 minutes for some visuals. This visual can be a picture or a movie, whatever you want. And we use the same visuals for at least 5 to 10 times of masturbation. So preparing a new visual every single time isn't really suitable. If you do it this way, after a while, you'll find yourself masturbating while watching the visuals or the movie. We're quickly setting up the visuals. Again, while watching the visuals, men need to have control over their breathing and their muscles should be relaxed, just like we do in the same fantasy for women. After watching the visuals, we enjoyed it, we watched, and we wrap it up nicely. And during the visuals, both men and women, we avoid direct contact with the penis or vagina or any criteria-based touch. We're watching the visuals, enjoying it, and then we wrap it up. Then we continue with the fantasy. After that, we continue with the fantasy while masturbating. Using visuals and fantasy this way will be the most effective approach for both men and women. Thank you.